Hi, seventh grade. Welcome to this week's lesson, which is on the transatlantic slave trade. Before we get started with this week's lesson, I have a couple of social studies announcements for you. This week, we would like for you to take a survey for the SGA. You may have already received a link to this survey from your social studies teacher, but if not, please click here to take the distance learning survey. It's an opportunity for you to let your teachers, your principal, and your SGA know how your education is affected by distance learning. We also would like you to click here to learn about the two candidates who are running for student member of the board. This week, on Wednesday, you will get an email with instructions for how to vote for student member of the board. It's important you learn about your candidates before you vote, so take a moment to read about them or hear about them here. This week in social studies, our objectives are for you to analyze the role of the slave trade in expanding European economic power and to identify consequences for enslaved Africans, African societies, and the Americas. In order to reach those objectives, we are going to revisit triangle trade, and we're going to define the Middle Passage. Then you're going to be looking at a number of different sources from various parts of the Middle Passage, the beginning, the middle, and the end of this journey. You will have an opportunity to do some reflecting and a 3-2-1 summarizer. So let's jump in. Last week, you learned about triangle trade. Triangle trade was this pattern of trade where Europeans traveled with their goods down to the west coast of Africa. They exchanged goods for people. They enslaved Africans and brought them to the Americas, where those enslaved Africans were traded for raw materials and brought back to Europe. One leg of triangle trade has a specific name. It is called the Middle Passage. The Middle Passage is the journey from West Africa to the Americas, where Europeans brought thousands of enslaved Africans. This was a very brutal journey. Many Africans did not survive the journey, and if they did, they were subjected to slavery in the colonies. This week's lesson, because we're focusing on the Middle Passage, is likely to stir up some emotional response from you. Your social studies teachers and I discussed how much we would like to be doing this lesson with you in person. It is a lesson that might make you feel very sad or very angry or possibly guilty. But it is a part of our history. It is a part of our heritage. It is the beginnings of the African experience in the Americas, and it is a building block to helping you understand where we are as a country today. So we feel it's very important. To that end, if you feel like you are going through these sources and the content is overwhelming you in any way, we encourage you to just take a break and wait, perhaps until you have an opportunity to process this with your social studies teacher during your Zoom lesson this week. Okay? Our Zoom lessons are the same time as they have been throughout the fourth marking period, either on Wednesday or Thursday afternoon. And we look forward to seeing you there, where we're going to take an opportunity to do a community circle to process our thoughts and our feelings about the Middle Passage. Students, you're doing a great job. Keep up the great work, and we'll see you in class. I will see you in class this week.